Today I'm going to show you how to do a few tricks in PowerPoint that will help you make a digital resource. It could be just for a presentation, it could be that you want to make a digibook, some kind of interactive PowerPoint presentation, but I'll go through a few things with you. So the first one is inserting a picture and animating it. So first of all, let's say insert here and then picture. And then I just happen to know that I have one here, oops, which is a tomato, so I'm going to put that in, tomato. Okay, now I'm just going to remove these text boxes here because I don't need them. So the first thing is how you're going to make the tomato entrance, for example, enter the screen. So you would go to animations and you've got a whole choice here of things you want to do. Most people usually just say appear and don't do anything exciting, but there's other things, fading, flying in, and you can change the direction it flies in with that one. You can change the speed, that kind of thing. So there's a whole bunch there, and remember that there's also extras here if you click on more entrance effects, so you can choose one of these as well. So let's say you wanted to, for example, grow and turn. Okay, let's see what happens when it grows and turns. So if we want to learn a little bit more about this and see what options we have, if we click on animation pane here, it comes up with your options on the side. At the moment it's starting on the click, so when I click the button then it will come on. If I click on start with previous, it will automatically appear after the slide has started. If I click on start after previous, the slide will come up and then the tomato will come up. You'll understand a bit more about that when I put another animation in. And then down here I've got some choices. My effect options is pretty useful. So if I click on effect options, you can add a sound if you want to. So you could, there are some sounds there that you could choose. So for example, it could be an applause. Yay! You can't hear the applause there, but there is an applause. Or you can also upload your own sounds, which would be other sound, and then you could go and find the sound that you wanted. Now also here, I also have the option here of saying when it starts. I can also delay it, so maybe I do want it to start but not for 5 seconds. And then how quickly do I want it to appear? I could make it very slow, for example, and then do I want it repeat? Do I want to repeat it or not? Do I want it to go back to how it was beforehand? Now with this tomato it's just appearing, so nothing exciting is happening there, but if you got it to move around the screen, for example, then you would use that one. And our other option is triggers rather. So is this part of a sequence? Does it happen when I click on something else on the screen? Okay, so let's apply that now. You can see it's taking 5 seconds for it to happen, and then when it comes on it's very slow. Maybe that's a bit too slow for us for today, so we might change that timing to no delay, and we'll have it on medium, say. There we go. Now if I want to put another animation on there, I have to click add animation. If I just, and you see if you pull down here, if I just click another one of these, it will replace that animation. I want to do an extra animation, so I have to click on add animation. And then I've already done the entrance, so I probably don't want to do that again, but I might have some kind of emphasis. I might want it to grow, for example. So I click on that one, and now you can see I have 2 here. So it starts off by coming in and then it's going to grow. Let's have a look at the options for this one. So I want this one to start after the previous. I don't want to have to click it, I want it to automatically happen. So I'm going to click on start after previous. If I start with previous, let me just show you that one, then it will grow as it's turning. If I start on after previous, then it will appear and then grow, so slightly different. My options here, okay, again with all these things there's always an option, so I could make it huge, I could make it 400%, so that would be really big, or as you can see on there, I can make it shrink instead. So you can make it grow and shrink. I could add that one twice. I could click on add animation, add that again, make it grow, make it shrink. But I think I'm going to make it huge actually. And then you've got some choices about how it starts and ends, so you can play around with that until you've got it the way you like it. Again, there's sounds and timing. So at the moment it's taking 2 seconds. It begins after the previous, so we could delay it for a second before it begins. And again, there are triggers and things there which we'll get to later. Okay, so beautiful. All right, now if I decide I don't want to do that one, so I'm going to remove that. Now let's add another animation here. Let's say we want a motion path, okay? So more motion paths here. These are the ones that are already done by the computer. So if we put in a triangle, for example, then it will move in a triangle. Or if we delete that one, what else could we put in? More motion paths. It could be all kinds of things. A star. Okay, there's a variety of things you could do there. You can turn them however you like. You can stretch them out, make them bigger or smaller. Let's play that now. So here it comes, and there it goes around in a star shape. So there's a variety of things you can do there. You can also do this one here, custom path, where you draw your own one. Okay, the best one for use to this, I think, well, one of the ones that you most often use is a line. So for example, just say you were saying that you wanted your tomato to climb a mountain. You could use this. So I can move this as well. It's a pretty easy one. The other thing you should remember, let me just view this so it's a bit smaller, is that your animations don't have to start on the screen. They could be off the screen. So it is another way to make things enter. Flies onto the screen. And of course with all of these is the timing, so you can say it doesn't take as long or it takes longer, whatever you want it to be. Okay, let me give you another tip. So for this one we're going to make a clickable drawing. So I'm going to find a picture of vegetables. Okay, so I've just inserted a picture and I'm going to make a clickable picture. So you want to make sure the picture takes up your whole page, so stretch it out. And maybe what I want this to do is that when the students click on various vegetables, it will pop up and it will say what those vegetables are. So I'm going to insert a text box here, just say for broccoli. Broccoli. Now I can't see that especially well, so I'm going to right click on the text box and I'm going to format it and give it some kind of fill. So let's say I give it a yellow fill. Yep, that's a bit easier to understand. And I might change the size a bit, 32, and make it bold or something. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to make it so that when students click on the broccoli, this will appear. So I'm also going to insert a just a box. So I'm just going to insert a shape. Maybe make it round because it's a round shape. That roughly takes up that broccoli, roughly where the broccoli is. And if I right click on this, I can say format the shape. I'm going to make it transparent. I don't want anybody to see it. and I'm going to put a no line on it. So it's there, but we can't see it anymore. So now what I do is I want to go to animations, and I want to see my animation pane, so I'm going to put it there. Now at the moment the box is in front of the broccoli sign, so I'm actually going to make the sign go back, not the sign, the box go back a little bit. So how you've got this bring to front, bring to back. Imagine these are pieces of paper stacked on top of each other, and you just want to put that transparent box behind the broccoli, so you want to send it backwards. If you say send to back, it will go all the way behind the other picture, so we just want to send it backwards. So now the broccoli is in the front. Okay, now my broccoli box, not the word, but the actual box, I want this to appear when I click on that broccoli. So I'm going to say here, appear, and then if I go to my text box, I've got choices here, effect options. I want it to appear when I click the box, or the oval, sorry. So my oval is called oval 4. When I click on oval 4, I want this broccoli sign to appear. So I'll say okay. And then I want it to disappear, so I need to add another animation, disappear. And just drag them down so they're in the right order. I want it to disappear after the previous, so after it's appeared. And my options will be, how long do I want it to wait? 2 seconds? Okay. So, let's try it. Here's my broccoli. I click on the broccoli. Broccoli appears and then it disappears after 2 seconds. Okay, so I could do that all over the screen. So that's one way you could use it. I need a new slide. Okay, maybe I'm going to write a story. Alright, this is my adventure, my choose your own adventure story. So you're an alien, you visit Earth to see a giant red blob, you wonder if it tastes any good. So your choices are you eat it or you don't eat it. So let's enter a text box here. You eat it, or insert text box. You don't eat it. Alright. We can, as we did before, make the text box beautiful by right clicking on them. We can change the fill, maybe we make them red, I don't know, whatever you like. You can play around with it to make it pretty. Now what we want to do is we want to make it so that when we click on these, it will take us to another slide which continues the story. So let's put in a new slide. Oops, you ate it, or another new slide, you didn't eat it. And go back here. Now, when you click on you eat it here, now we don't want the text, we want the box, so make sure you click on the box. We can hyperlink this. Insert, hyperlink. Now usually when you think of hyperlink, you think of going to web pages, which you can do. You can put a hyperlink to a web page in there if you want to. You would just type it in there. But today we're going to go to a place in this document. You eat it. Which slide is the eat it slide? It's this one here, number 3. Number 3, you ate it, and that's where we want to go. And for this one, we want to, oops. Oh yeah, so you can also see it on here. For this one, we want to hyperlink as well. So you can either go through this insert menu or you can right click on it, and we want to hyperlink to slide 4. And you just say okay. Right, now, so let's have a look what happens. If I click on you eat it, oh look, it took me straight to you ate it, hooray. If you click on you didn't eat it, it takes me to you didn't eat it. And then of course you can continue the story down. So under the you ate it one, of course you'll have the rest of your story and then 2 choices and so on and so on. So that's a good one to do. Oops. Home, new slide. Okay, another thing you can do with these is to make a quiz. Let's make a pretty quiz. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to get rid of the text boxes, insert a picture. Let's make it a lovely field, that looks nice. If you go to the format menu, there's all kinds of choices here about how you can make your picture look. So let's choose that one, a nice kind of 3D looking picture. Alright, there's my picture. And in the background, how do I want the outside of this to look? I can go to design. I can choose these designs, of course, the ones that we usually use. And if you did choose one of those, just say you chose this one here, you know that there are choices down here for the colours as well. So you can change the colour scheme for those if you want to. You can also change the font scheme for that, because they all have a font scheme that goes with them. But maybe I don't want to do that, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to click on here, background styles. You can, it has got some pre-done background styles, but you can also format your own. Let me just move this over here so you can see it a bit better. I could just do a solid fill. Maybe I was going to make this all that colour. I can do a gradient fill, which means that I could either do a preset one like that, or I can choose any others. When you do a gradient fill, it comes up with these arrows across here, and you can choose the colours for those. So at the moment, this first colour here is yellow, but I could change that to green, for example. And then you click on the second colour, and you change that to whatever you like. And you can also drag them, move them around, so that changes the where the colour grades into the others. There's also transparency there if you don't want it to be so bright, or maybe you want it to be brighter or less bright. Various things you can change. You can say what type of gradient do you want. At the moment it's linear, but you could have radial. Just move the picture out of the way so you can see it. And the directions, so these are some radial ones here. Okay. Or you could have rectangular, and here's what the rectangular ones might look like, so I could choose one of those if I wanted. You could have a path, and generally that's what the path one looks like there. Oh, you can see it on the side here. You can also have shade from title. There you go, so change from the title downwards if you wanted to. Anyway, back to this one. So maybe I'll use, I don't know, a picture or something. So I could also, my other choices are I can go and get a picture from file. You just click on file here to get another picture. Or there's all kinds of textures you could use too that are already in here. So you might want these as your background. Maybe it's wood. Maybe you could put a blackboard in the background, something like that. So you can use any of those. And then there's ways to move them around as well. When my choices are then if I close it, it'll just be this one. If I say apply to all, it'll do it to all my slides. So I'm just going to do it to this one. And I'm going to do a quiz. So I'm going to say, I'll put a little text box here, and I'll say something like, where does milk come from? And of course I can make this, oops, bigger, too big. Where does milk come from? So this is my question, and then my answers could be, they could be along the bottom, they could be along the side, whatever we wanted. So maybe I could say, I'm going to insert a text box here and say it comes from tomatoes, and I'll just format my text box. Let's make that one yellow. Or it could come from, oh, you know what I could do for that? I could also use these. That's prettier, isn't it? I could do another one, text box, and I could say it comes from cows, and then format, let's make that one orange, and then I could insert one more, say, and I could say it comes from bees. And once again, take that. I'll make this one blue. Okay, now it looks a bit messy. I might put it behind. I'm going to send it behind. So I'm going to bring this picture actually. I'm going to send that picture, send backwards. I'm actually going to okay, it looks a bit messy, so I'm going to send that one to the back, send that one to the back, send to the back. Okay, that looks a bit neater. Oops. Anyway, you can fiddle around with them, make them bigger, the smaller, whatever you like. Now you've got to have somewhere for these to link to. So in my new slide, maybe I'll say correct. Well done. I don't really want that. And then I'll enter another little text box that says next question at the bottom of the page. And I'm going to format that. And then I'll have another page that says incorrect. Try again. Format. This can be another purple one too. And you could, of course, do the background, whatever you like. So now, I've got tomatoes. Again, remember, don't choose the text, choose the actual box. And then I want to hyperlink it. Is tomatoes the right answer? No, it's not. So we click on incorrect. Okay. Is cows the correct answer? Yes, it is. So we click on correct. Okay. Is bees the correct answer? No, it's not. Incorrect. Now with our correct one, okay, if they got it right, next question. So, well, at the moment we don't have a next question, so we're not going to link that one to anything now. But if it was incorrect and you wanted them to try again, you could hyperlink back to slide, we know it's number 5, it's written there, slide 5. All right, let's go to slide 5. Let's try it out. So where does milk come from? Tomatoes? Incorrect. Try again. Okay, is it bees? Try again. It must be cows. Yay, well done. And then I would be able to click onto the next question. All right, next thing I wanted to show you was how to insert a video. So for example, if you got it incorrect, maybe you wanted to give some feedback. So you could say insert video and the little arrow underneath it. Video from file, so if you already have one, then you can upload it there. Video from website, which is what a lot of people would use. Maybe one YouTube clip from the internet or something. So let's say that one, video from website, and it comes up with this box. So you need to go to the website. So let's look up YouTube, where does milk come from, for example. Okay, where does milk come from? When you've opened it up, there's a little button down here that says share. Click on share, and you've got 3 choices here: share, embed, and email. You want to embed it, so just click on embed, and it comes up with this code, which you copy, and then you just paste it into here and say insert, and it will come up. When it's in just editing mode, you can't see it, but when you're playing it, it will come up there. Okay, so you should be able to see it. You do need to check this because in different versions of PowerPoint, there's slightly different ways of doing it, so that can be a bit tricky, so make sure you know that one. If, for example, you wanted to put in some sound, so maybe for this one, we want to say, well done, you got it right, yay, and so there's like an applause sound. So you could say insert audio, and again there's choices underneath it. If you already have some audio, then you can upload it. If you haven't, then there's some clip art stuff, and you can actually record your own as well. So let's go to the clip art stuff. There's cheers there. So let's insert the cheers. There it is. Let's listen. Cheers, hurrah. Okay. Now there's a few things we can do with this one. So if you click on that, it comes up with this menu at the top. If you go to the playback one, then there's various things you can do here. You can also, remember, do the things we said here. So you've got options here as well, which you should look at. But, oops, let's go back to this menu, playback. So You can get it to fade in or fade out. You can trim it if you think it's too long and you wanted it to be shorter. You just drag it to where you want it to be and just say okay, and that will do that. You can make it keep going until you tell it to stop. You can get it to start on the click, or you can get it to start automatically. So in this case we want it to start automatically, don't we? And also, if you have a look at it now, you can see that. Okay, we don't want to see it, so let's say hide during the show. Now you can't see it, but it's still there. So there's a variety of things you can do there as well that you should look at. So if we want to play this game now, where does milk come from? It comes from cows. I've got it right. Okay, so now we're going to make a story. So when you're making a story, for example, you might decide you're going to have pictures all down here. I don't know whether you're going to have text or not. When you start off, it helps if you can zoom out a bit. It's at 125 at the moment. I'm going to put it at 66. It just gives you a better idea of what's there. I want this house to take up the whole page, so I'm going to see how big I can make it. Don't worry about cutting off the edges of things, but do check to see, does your whole house fit in? Yes, it does. Okay. It's much more effective to have the picture hanging over the edges than it is to have it underneath. And I'm going to put this little dog in my picture, in my story. Does it fit? Yes, there it is. Okay, so this is going to be a story about this dog. Now you'll notice at the moment that it's got a white background. If it's got a solid colour background, no matter what colour it is, you can actually get rid of the background. So you click on Format, and if you click on Colour here, there's something down the bottom here called Set Transparent Colour. If you click on that, and then you click on the white, it disappears. Okay, so it does mean, if you look up close, there was a little bit of white here that disappeared with that. So you do have to be a bit careful, but it does get rid of the outside there and makes it look more realistic. So here's a story about my dog. I'm going to put this one in as well. Now this might not be a very good choice because there's blanks on the edges, so what I can do is copy and paste that a few times, and I can hide that. Send those to the back. Move that across a little bit. Not perfect. I might want to make it a little bit wider, but I've kind of hidden. You can still see it there, so you have to be careful, but it looks better than having white there. Okay, again, make it fill the whole page, and here's my sausage. Okay, so at the moment, this is what we see. Oh, there's a line at the top there, so I better make sure I go back and fix that. I can stretch that one up, nobody's going to notice. Okay, so I'm going to tell a story. The way I would do this is I can go to slideshow, the slideshow menu, and I can record it. So see how it says here, record slideshow? If I click on that, start recording from the beginning, or if you just want to do one slide from the current slide, and ask me here, do I want to record the slide and animation timings? So when I click it, for example, and the next thing happens, do I want to record that, or do I just want to record the voice? Well, I do want to record that. And then do I want to record the narrations? Yes, I do. It says laser pointer, but I've never seen anybody be able to actually record that. So let's record it. Once upon a time, there was a little dog named Fluffy, and he lived in a big cream-coloured house in my neighbourhood. His mum also lived in the house, and her name was Flippy. One day, Flippy was walking down the street when she smelled some delicious sausages, and she looked around and she saw some people having a sausage sizzle. She watched them put the sausages into their mouths, and then one fell on the ground. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, then I go up to the recordings up here. I can pause it if I want to, or I can just click it. That's the end. That was the last slide, so it's stopped for me. Now you can see down here it tells me how long it was on each one, how many seconds I spoke for. And you see this little, in the corner here you can see little speaker symbol, so you know that there's sound on that slide. Now when I play it,
Once upon a time there was a little dog named Fluffy who lived in a big cream-coloured house in my neighbourhood. His mum also lived in the house and her name was Flippy. One day Flippy was walking down the street when she smelled some delicious sausages and she looked around.
okay, I won't go through the whole thing, but you can see that it will automatically play it. So you could make this just a book. Okay, if I want to remove the sound, then I just double click on the slide, click on that and just say delete. Now I've removed it from that one, but this one still has sound.
His mum also lived in the house and her name was...
And when I play it from the beginning, this one doesn't have any sound or anything, so I have to click this one. But that one does. So I've removed it from one, but I haven't removed it from all of them. So what you could do, for example, let me remove this one, is you could have the sound on this one, the sound on this one, and then this one here, they have to do a puzzle and they have to click before it'll go to the next one, and then it gets the sound on there. So you can see how you could use it to make an interactive digibook. Okay, and the final thing is you have to remember to save it properly so that it does save all these things. The best way to do it is to go to save and send, and then you've got a variety of choices here about how you're going to save it. Packaging the presentation for the CD is maybe the best one. It depends on how you want it to appear. So if you want it to appear like this, and then they have to click play to start it, then maybe that's the best way. But you can also save it, save and send, as a video, for example. So if it was just something you wanted them to watch, you could do that. You can create handouts from it. So make sure you do have a look around here at all the different things you can do for it. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you is how to make a pull down menu. So all I've done here is in the background here I've just put in a picture. Up the top here, this is just a text box. I've written food facts and I've coloured it green. And these things here are just boxes. Okay, so I've just made some boxes that are next to each other. And what I'm going to do is insert an animation into them so that it looks like they're pulled down menus. So this is how I do it. First of all, I want to see the animation pane. Okay, what I'm going to say is I want these to appear when I click on this box. Let's do this one first. So we're just going to have this appear, and it's going to, well actually we'll make them all appear. Appear, appear, appear. Oops, try that one again. Appear. So these three are going to appear. When are they going to appear? They're going to appear when I click on meet. Okay? And they're all going to be like that. So this is going to appear when I click on meet. And this one is also going to appear when I click on meet. If I just drag it down there, you'll see that it automatically gets that. So you can just drag them in. And then on this side, I've got apples. I'm going to make that appear. And you also want this one to appear. And then the same thing, we want these ones to be triggered when we click on fruit. Okay, and then we can just drag that one down underneath that and it will also be triggered then. So at the moment, what have we got? I click on meat, they're all appearing one after another. Okay, I don't want that. I want them all to appear at the same time. So with previous, with previous, with previous. Let's have a look now. Ta-da! Okay, brilliant. Now we also want them to disappear. So we also have to say for each of these, add animation, disappear. Add animation, disappear. Add animation, disappear. And we'll just drag them underneath this, and we want those three to happen, so 3 and the bottom 2 there, we want them to happen with previous. But this one, we don't want that one to happen until we click on it again. Okay, and the same, it's automatically there, and the same with this one. So add animation, disappear, add animation, disappear. Oops, didn't work. Disappear. And so we'll drag them down under this as well. And the second one there, we have to make sure that's with previous. So we've got 1, the first time you click it, these 3 will appear. The second time you click it, these 3 will disappear. The first time you click it, these 2 will appear. The second time you click it, they'll disappear. Now let's see what happens. So we've got meat. Yep. Okay, brilliant. And then of course what you would do is you would hyperlink this. So to add the hyperlink, I click on the box, right click, hyperlink, and where do I want it to go to? It's somewhere in this document. It's pork, so I want it to go to the pork page, so I click on pork, okay, lamb, hyperlink, I want the lamb to go to the lamb page. I won't do them all, just do those 2, so meat, okay, now click on pork, we're at the pork page. If I, lamb, goes to the lamb page. Okay, so you could do a whole bunch of things there, and then of course on the pork page and the lamb page you could have other things that link you somewhere else, but that way they look like, these ones really look like drop down menus. Okay, so good luck with your assignments. There's lots of different things you could use here, so just have fun and make it interesting.